So hello, my name's Rob and this is Cattle Rabbit Scale Model Studios, and in this video I'm going to show you how to take your grey piles of scenery and get them tabletop ready in no time at all. This is a really quick method to do and requires practically no effort and very little skill. As always, I'll leave all information in the description box below along with any links you can use to help support the channel. And if you like this video, please do consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing. And now that's out the way, let's get started. So here I have some junk piles from my Kill Team starter set, but you can apply this method to pretty much any piece of scenery you want. And the first thing we're going to need to do is prime our pieces. And for this I've used lead belcher spray, but any silver spray will work. Then it's just a case of picking out any colours you want on your scenery. So here you can see I picked out some colours. Once again, you can do as much or as little as you want of this. However, if you are using this method to get things done as quickly as possible, I would recommend sticking to just a few colours. And now it's time for the magic part. If you have never used an oil wash before, let this serve as your guide. All you will need is an oil paint, and here I'm using Windsor and Newton Burnt Umber, and then you will need some white spirit. Do also pop something down to protect your work surface and work in a well ventilated area, as the white spirit can smell quite a bit. Now I've got a little container here that I'm going to decant some of my products into, but all we are going to do to start with is we're going to squeeze out a bit of the oil paint, and then I'm going to add a small amount of white spirit and give it a really good mix, ensuring the oil paint is completely dissolved into the spirit. There is no wrong way to do this step, as you can always add more oil or white spirit as it's required. Now, using a good brush, and here I'm using a Big Games Workshop shade brush, I can test to see if I'm happy with the mixture. Here it's a bit too watery and runny for me, so I go back and I add a bit more oil paint to thicken the mixture up. Then I give it another good mix and I'm much happier with the results. As I said, this method requires very little skill and is incredibly forgiving, but as a rule I would recommend aiming for a thicker mixture every time, and in a minute you will see why. So paint your oil wash over absolutely all of your scenery. You don't need to worry about pooling or handling it, just make sure everything is covered. Then leave the piece to dry. If you want to help speed up this section, you can use a hairdryer and have the whole thing dry in about 5 minutes or so. Just make sure you do small sharp bursts of heat, otherwise you can risk melting or warping the pieces. Now everything is dry. Pour out a little bit of white spirit and, using a cotton bud or pad, dip it into the white spirit and then gently wipe it over the scenery pieces. This will remove the oil wash by reactivating it and only leave it settled in the recesses. Think of this section as kind of like applying a wash, but you're doing it in reverse. Also, a little tip: if you really scrub on one place, you'll actually remove the paint and it will show the silver primer underneath. This is great for making things look really worn and damaged, as you can see here, and it looks incredibly natural. Now everything's been cleaned up and I'm happy how everything's looking. Next up, it's just a case of dry brushing with a silver paint. I like to use a brighter silver, and here I'm using Runefang Steel, but any silver will work, and this is applied all over the piece. Next up, I get some scrag brown and I heavily water it down, and then I just go around and I paint it into any edges where I think dirt would build up, mainly focusing on the bottom of the piece or any bits where rainwater would have collected and just maybe it's just got a bit dirty. And lastly, Rise of Rust. And this again, I dry brush in random places to simulate rust build-up, but here I mainly focus on metallic parts, just where rust would naturally build up. You can do as much or as little as you want of this, just go nuts. And there we have our completed pieces. Super easy to do and incredibly forgiving. This method gives a great result which takes no time at all. I myself have used this method for loads of Necromunda and Warhammer 40,000 scenery, but it can also be applied to miniatures and just about anything else. I do recommend when you are finished giving your pieces a good varnish. A scenery always tends to take a bit of a knock here and there, but that is entirely up to you. So that's it for me in this one. I do hope this helps you get your scenery on the tabletop super quick. These 3 pieces took me about 2 hours to do. I did them rather stupidly, one after each other, and I was watching a movie at the time. So had I done them all at the same time, I probably could have done this in about 45 minutes. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this, but that's it for me in this one. God bless and take care. And I just want to give a massive shout out to my little helping editor today, which is my daughter, who has kindly helped me edit it and do the voiceover for this video, and a big thanks to her.
Hi YouTube.
And she's gone a little bit shy. Thanks again everyone, and I'll see you next time.